Hey there, folks. Aaron here. We're back with a season of Studio Ghibli movies, in case you hadn't noticed. And this week we're talking about Greater Fireflies. Before we get to that, though, I just want to remind you we do have a Patreon campaign. Links are down below. If you want to donate to see more episodes of this show, as well as other spin-off shows we're working on, I'm not going to tell you what. Let's just say it's going to be a bit of a smackdown. Be sure to tune in. And if you like any of this stuff, again, just $1 a month to the Patreon will help us go a long way. Thank you very much, and enjoy the show. Hello, Internet, and welcome to the After Credits cast. And I thought these anime movies were all going to be upbeat and fun. Now let's have a movie show. With me today, I have Max Barres, guest starring this week.
Holy shit, guys! What up?
We missed you, man. It's been a while.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, what was it, Iron Man you were on last?
Yeah,
Jeez.
legit, because high school fucked me. But
You're out!
Guess
You're
what?
free!
I'm out! Yeah, I'm a free man, I'm a manlet.
Oh man,
A man that's a small child that still needs to rely on his parents to live.
And that laughter you hear in the background is from our my co-host, Ryan Metters.
Hola.
He's a little bit broken. We'll tell you why in a minute.
Oh, the cast is gonna learn today.
And I am your host, Aaron Waseska, and we're here to talk about one of, I would argue, the most important movies in the Studio Ghibli library. That would be The Grave of Fireflies. But before we get into that, guys, let's start by covering ourselves for what we did this week. What have you guys been watching? Anything interesting on the Netflix or the Hulus you guys have been watching at all?
Jesus, I can't even think about anything else that I've watched right now.
Well, I'll start. So I've been binge watching Once Upon a Time with Amanda.
Why? Why you do this to yourself?
Okay. So I watched it way back in the day with my mom, up to like season 3 when it got to shit, and then I just stopped. And so I'm like, you know what? If she's gonna rewatch it, I'm gonna jump in season 3 and see if I can figure out why I hated it. I remember why I hated it, but I'm sticking through it to at least see if they do anything else interesting, because I like the weird spins they do on the fairy tale thing. So I'm okay with it. I don't hate it, but it doesn't hold up all the way through every time. I'll admit that much.
I dropped it. Fuck. I want to say the fifth, like at the end of the 5th or the 6th season.
Oh, you stayed in way longer than I did.
I stayed in it. I mean, I was enjoying it. I was, but because it's a very hit or miss show, and when it misses, I just get mad. But when it hits, oh my god, it's fucking spectacular. And then they took one of my favorite characters and completely undid the entirety of his season-long character arc for no fucking reason. And I was like, alright, I'm done.
Which character are you referring to? Because I think I might know who it is.
Do you want me to spoil that?
Well, I'm on we're in season 6 right now, so...
What's happening?
Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde have shown up to do bullshit.
What?
They literally just showed up to do some bullshit.
Like, hey guys.
Yeah, really. They're like, hey guys, we're here to fuck up Storybrooke.
Hey guys, we're here to commit some drama for the storyline. Let's go. Come on, let's get some shit done.
I'm guessing, Ryan, it has to do with Captain Hook.
No.
Oh, really? Okay. Where's your beef at then?
I'm trying to figure out what season it was on. Then it's Rumpelstiltskin. It's Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay, that could have been any season, but I'm gonna guess it's the one where he comes back to life.
No. I'm trying to God damn it! I'm trying to figure out exactly what season it happened on, and I don't want to like say something and then be like, "Oh shit, spoilers!" So
I mean, it's been out for a while, but I'm gonna
But
guess
it would be spoilers for you because you haven't watched it, and I don't want to fuck it up for you.
Well, I mean, if it's after Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, then sure. But if it's before then, I've seen it already, so... Because right now he is trying to... He just woke Bella up from a dream after putting her in a sleeping curse, and she has a baby and shit.
Huh. You know, without context, this is the weirdest fucking...
It's fucking weird!
With no context whatsoever, i.e. me.
For an anime podcast, we're spending a lot of time on an American.
Oh, you know what?
Show.
You know what? I jumped out at the end of season 5. At the end of the season with Emma giving up her being the Dark One.
Oh, yep, okay. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no. At the end, with Gold...
When he gets his powers back?
Decides to be... Just, like, after an arc of him trying to overcome his cowardice and, like, not rely on evil magic, but actually become a hero worthy of, like, the good in his life. And then at the very end, he just says, you know what? Fuck it, I'm the Dark One. And I'm like, why?
Yeah,
why? Yeah. And I was done. I was done.
No, I got salty when what's his name, Henry in season 3 gave into Peter Pan's bullshit. I'm like, Henry, you're a smart kid. You've read all the fairy tales. Why is this one fucking you up?
Peter Pan's peer pressure.
It really was. It pissed me off so hard.
Peter Pan's peer pressure.
I was still super hoping that that Neo was Peter Pan. They honestly set it up perfectly. All he had, like, they could have just went right through with it, but no.
Oh, you mean like Paul Robin Williams, where he ends up becoming Peter Pan after having forgotten about it? That would have been cool. I could have been down with that.
Hey, I mean, the fucking, like, Henry being the son of, like Henry being the son of, the grandson of Prince Charming and Snow White, and being the father, or being the son of Peter Pan, that would have been boss. That would have been really
That would have
been
cool. Missed opportunity, guys. ABC, we're looking at you. What the fuck you doing? Max, what have you been watching?
You know, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. Danganronpa 3 anime, Persona 5 anime, and Godzilla anime.
You know, I've heard the Persona 5 anime is not as good as the game. Can you confirm?
I can definitely confirm that shit.
I figured.
Yeah, no.
I figured.
No, it... oh yeah, I also did watch I watched like an episode or two of Sword Art Online Alternative. Fucking hate it.
I figured as much too. I've not heard good things about Sword Art Online in general, but I know some harsh critics.
I mean, the only reason I watch it is because I'm, like, emotionally invested in the fucking storyline, where I don't want to leave it, but if I wasn't, would totally ditch it by now. Not gonna lie.
Fair enough. Ryan, do you have anything you want to add to the watch list, or should we go on to our movie of the week?
Fuck. What was I watching?
I mean, the season finale of Flash just aired, didn't it?
It did. I actually watched it last night. It was okay. Honestly, it was alright.
Alright, I haven't kept up on this new season. Is it worth getting into?
The season itself was really good. But I don't think the season finale kind of lived up to it. But then again, you couldn't really, like, have a believable finish when the main villain was so goddamn good. It's just like, I don't really know how to beat the Thinker, really, but alright. So,
I mean, yeah,
the power of love. So that's fine.
Also, a fair warning for this episode, it's going to get sad.
Oh, yeah.
So if you want something not sad after this and filled with cute animals, I suggest Disney's documentary Born in China, because it has pandas and red pandas.
I highly suggest
monkeys.
Everyone has a tissue box next to him for the next, 40 to 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to get real.
With that, let's go into the movie. So I'm going to start... So the format's a little different than what we used to do. I'm going to start with accolades and important notes about the film. Then we're going to go to initial thoughts, just a brief one sentence, what we all thought of it. Then I'm going to do a very brief synopsis, and trust me, they're going to be brief. And then we'll actually discuss it, break it down. I got some prompts if we get slow on discussion at all. You guys ready?
Yes.
Totally ready. Let's do this.
Alright. So important accolades for this film. This week we're discussing Great Fireflies for the Studio Ghibli SummerSlam. It was released in April of 1988. It is one of the earliest works to release for the official studio creation of Studio Ghibli. And lays claim to 3 good awards. It has the Blue Ribbon Special Award and 2 awards from the Chicago International Children's Festival for animated feature films. It has also been noted by the famed critic Roger Ebert to be the best and most powerful war film, adding to his personal best films in the year 2000. Boys, what are your initial thoughts on the movie?
Realistically sad.
Fair, very fair. Ryan, how about you?
It is one of the best and most powerful anime I've ever seen, and I will more than likely never watch it again.
That is also very fair.
Wait, can I just ask real quick?
Okay.
Is it because of just how strong the message was, Ryan, that you would never watch it again? Like, was it just too much?
It's nothing against the message. It's a very important message, and I'm very glad that I watched it, but I won't put myself through that again.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Was it like too emotionally bearing for you to like? Yeah. Okay.
No, it was.
I kind of figured as much.
I'm dead. I'm dead actually.
You can hear it in his voice.
Well, let me do a quick synopsis, and we'll get into a deeper discussion here real quick. So near the end of World War II, two young children in Japan, Seita, the elder brother, and Setsuko, the toddler sister, are all they have left. The film begins with their house going up in flames during one of many air raids that happens during the film. Their mother is caught in the attack and dies from her injuries. They live with their aunt, who has no interest in actually looking after them, and is very vocal about it, actually. And a letter they sent out to their father never gets a response, telling the audience that they no longer have him to rely on either. They leave their aunt and their extended family because of how they're being treated, and Seita's pride ultimately keeps them from going back. The two kids attempt to make it on their own, finding shelter by a nearby river. Things turn bad when their food starts to run out. Seita resorts to stealing, and Setsuko's illness progresses quickly in a matter of days. Setsuko dies by the end of the film, leaving Seita to cremate her and care only for himself. To make matters seem bleaker, despite all the struggles and hardships, Japan ultimately lost the war, and he lost everything. So, boys, now that we've discussed that...
Whoa, okay.
now that we've gotten to that, let's break it down. So, guys, where should we start this conversation at?
How about we start with defining the time period, because this is a very...
Yes.
It's definitely a strong period piece. That's very important.
Yes.
If you do not have context for what is going on, the movie is very vague at points, I feel.
So, to clarify, it is basically the end of World War II. It doesn't say specifically, but because they referenced the bomb once, I do feel it's right after the bombs, but these kids are in a town nowhere near the bombs. They just heard about them.
I disagree partially. I think it's, after I can't remember what the operation's name was, but it was before the two nukings. There was an operation where the US soldiers just bombed the fuck out of certain cities. Mostly Tokyo, but other cities as well. Kind of similar to how we treated Vietnam in the Vietnamese War, where we just tried to bomb the fuck out of them.
Okay. But yeah, we're definitely in the, last, what would you say, 6 months? Yeah. For sure.
I would say within the last year and a half.
Okay.
Roughly speaking.
I mean, time kind of doesn't have a solid, progression in this film. They kind of bounce around a little bit, and they have those, weird sides where the color gets a little surreal, and you're kind of like, what's going on? And they transition back to the current time. Yeah. So
honestly, you threw me for a loop when you told me that the last bit of the movie and with Setsuko's illness actually progresses in a matter of days. Because that
feels really fast.
I don't know. It felt like we were watching them over time, and I know she wasn't growing. And actually, one of the things that kept sticking out to me was that why wasn't her hair growing? But I
think it was falling out for a little bit near the end.
It was near the end, but I guess that's also one of the things that was a subtle hint towards just how little time was actually passing.
Okay, so I pulled up a Wikipedia article just to verify this.
Okay.
It's actually not towards the end of the war, because World War II ended in 1949, at least in the novel, it takes place in the bombing of Kobe in March 16th and 17th of 1945, which was part of a strategic bombing campaign waged by the United States of America against military and civilian targets and population centers during the Japan Home Islands campaign in the closing stage of World War II.
So we are getting near the end, but it's not like the last minute of it.
And it's not the end.
Okay. I mean, in all fairness, it's the effective end for these people, more or less, because by the end of the film, they do start saying the war's over, that we've already surrendered, so it's effectively the end for these people.
Well, if you look at the dates, August 6th of the same year was the bombing of Hiroshima, and August 9th of the same year was Nagasaki.
True. I think I kind of spaced on the dates a little bit, because I was so captured by the animation style, so I didn't read anything. I feel terrible.
Well, that and, it's very hard to keep, the idea of progression going on in the movie, but I think it makes up for it in the story itself and the anti-war message that it has in general.
Yeah. Yes.
A little bit of background, just in case, I know most people in the West know a fair amount about the Western Front in World War II, but not a lot of people in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world actually know about World War II. And a lot of people in the Western Hemisphere don't know that much about the Eastern Front in World War II.
The most they probably know is just, hey, we beat them, and we also had internment camps that were very racist and probably would never be allowed again.
Yeah. Basically, so if you don't know, the emperor at the time, his name was Hirohito. He was the emperor of Japan, and he was the longest monarch of Japan historically. And he had a general named Hideki Tojo. And Hideki Tojo was basically just a mad dude. He committed the rape of Nanking. He invaded the Philippines, Taiwan, Korea, China, Vietnam, but the Vietnamese fought them back, and that's a whole different story. But basically, they also introduced this thing called state Shintoism, which was basically this where you get the kamikaze pilots and, honor-suicide idea to this extreme. Because honor-suicide had been dead in Japan for many generations at that point, but this ultra-nationalism that was brought into Japan by the Western world kind of revived it.
Man, I have so many problems with the concept of nationalism, but that's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, I mean, you have to realize that part of World War II was America's fault. Because
yes and yes and no. It's definitely strongly on what happened with Germany and all that stuff, but a lot you could attribute part of it to us. I'd imagine, yeah.
I mean, okay, I'm talking more in the sense of the Eastern Front.
Okay, we'll stick to that side.
Because here's the thing that happened: we gave them guns, and we basically westernized them.
Oh, so you mean like what we did in the Middle East, and then the terrorist happened?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, that explains so much.
I mean, it wasn't the fact that we tried to help. The idea wasn't to help modernize Japan. The idea was, let's have a military ally in the East, which in turn led to a lot of more problems.
Which, like I said, if you look to the Middle East situation now. Yeah, it's clear history is repeating itself again and again.
Yeah. Anyways, so Grave of the Fireflies takes place during this, and I want to apologize for my voice, I'm a little bit sick today. Grave of the Fireflies takes place during this time of ultra-nationalism and just weirdness in Japan. Actually, in the film, you see Seita reading a manga that is state propaganda in one of the first scenes. I don't know if anybody else caught on to that.
I did catch on to it. I did catch a few different side characters saying "Hail the Emperor" or something like that. So you could feel the nationalism there. Even the kid, to an extent, could exhibited it when he wasn't concerned about his sister's well-being. Especially during that last scene where they tell him that they lost the war and he's freaking out. Not only because he lost everything, but because his father was over there. He believed in the soldiers. He believed in the cause, and to hear that it all just fell apart. I don't think I don't think I've ever been alive during a losing war like that, to that extent, for sure. And
yeah, no.
And I could not imagine what it'd be like to get that news and realize that you lost all that shit and it meant nothing.
Well, that, and imagine the mindset of these people. I mean, we saw propaganda going around like many states use during wartime. I mean, you can even see it in America, Britain, the USSR.
Oh yeah, they have
Germany.
all the propaganda for World War II in America, like in museums and shit right now. You can go find that shit.
Imagine just being surrounded by that for years.
Ugh.
And being told that this higher figure is infallible.
I can't handle fucking 5 minutes of Donald Trump propaganda. Why would I want to Why would I want years of that?
Yeah, exactly. And also, imagine if not only you're invested in this big propaganda machine around you, but also your father is partially a part of that, because your father is a soldier going to war. So you're not only politically invested in this, but you're also personally and emotionally invested in this war.
God, this movie hits on, like, every fucking note. Before I get into the context of the film, I do want to bring up one interesting bit of trivia I saw when I was looking up stuff for this movie. So you know how in most traditional animations, they use, like, black outlines to help define the character shapes and whatnot?
Yeah.
So I read a little interesting fact. They didn't actually use black for this. They used a lot of browns to make softer images happen, and that also kind of added to the quality, and it looks really good.
That makes sense.
Wow.
Because, I mean, more subtle, not subtle, but more, like, not deeper imagery can kind of give you a sense of dread. And I think from the beginning of Grave of the Fireflies, it's mostly just dread that you feel.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely one of those movies that's oppressing you. It's I had a very distinct Silent Hill vibe going through it because it has the same kind of oppressive, bleak atmosphere. Different story, obviously, but like you go into it and you're like, okay, I'm ready for this, but you're not ready for it. It's just an oppressive blanket over you, just smothering you until the very end. It's effective though, very effective.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in the beginning after the bombing, where it's just nothing but ash around them, you know?
Yeah, that definitely set the tone for the movie. And I like, to our listeners, I'm sorry if I'm super quiet this not today. I literally just finished watching this movie about 30 minutes ago, and I am emotionally dead right now. But I will say that I know Max has watched this movie before, and Aaron just watched it yesterday.
I did.
And they were messaging, we have a Facebook chat, and they were messaging saying, oh my god, I can't believe this movie, it was so sad. So I had an idea that it was sad, but there was no way to be prepared for the train wreck of feelings. And I think the bombing of a peaceful village within the first 3 minutes of the movie does a good job of setting the tone. That's only going to go downhill from there. But I think what really sets off the emotional power of this movie is the fact that you have those amazingly tragic scenes, but in between them you have periods that are really beautiful, with just Seita taking care of his little sister and actually trying to have there's a lot of breathing room, and there's a lot of really nice and beautiful moments that, and it's I want to say it's the extremes of those emotional points that really give the movie its power.
So Ryan, I actually told Max this before we got live here, so this movie actually double featured upon its release. The reason is because it couldn't get the budget to release on its own.
Really?
And if you've seen any other Studio Ghibli film, you can probably imagine that a good number of them will not match up with this for a double feature.
No.
Ryan, are you familiar with the movie Totoro?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it as of yet. I'm excited to get to it in the midst of the project.
You're gonna love it.
That is the movie that was double featured with this.
Yeah, and okay, Ryan, I'm not gonna spoil it too much, but the message for Totoro is that no matter what, you and your family can get through anything. So imagine seeing that first.
Wait, first? first.
Yeah, they showed that one first.
And then, all of a sudden, they're like, but sometimes you just can't help it.
Sometimes you're fucked.
And then they just show Grave of the Fireflies, which is this great dialogue on, like, modern Japanese history. But part of it is that you just can't help certain things in life.
They should have shown them in the opposite order, or separate.
It absolutely should have been shown in the opposite order. I can't imagine. I'm kicking myself for watching this after Spirited Away. I'm really mad at myself for that.
I mean, I hear you. The reason we did that we did the same way, and the reason I did that here is because I knew Amanda would probably dig Spirited Away first, so that way she'd be able to get into it with me and watch it. So
I used it as a hook. Oh my god!
Oh, you're an evil bastard. You're an evil bastard.
You're just as sadistic as that PR dude who thought this was a good idea.
Like no, we're gonna get him with Spirited Away. It's a fantastic movie. It's fun. It's whimsical. It's great. And it can showcase a lot of great stuff that we do in the studio, and then we crush them.
For those listening, we are recording these out of order. I'm pretty sure the upload order will probably be the release order of the movies, but I don't even know anymore. I'll figure it out when I'm editing. It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
We're gonna wing it.
We're gonna wing it. So I have some discussion questions prepared in regards to the film, and I want to see what you guys think about these.
All right.
So first off, was Saito right in leaving his aunt's place? And was he right in never returning? What do you guys think?
I'm going to clarify this right now. I think Seida's aunt is one of the biggest cunts in...
Oh no, she's like fucking Cinderella stepmom level.
Yeah, because, at first she's relatively nice. I mean, she's not,
she has to be
really enthusiastic. But then, she starts suddenly saying, hey, are you going to get a job? And I guess that's reasonable in wartime, because, you have to feed everybody. But the further and further you go with this, you just realize how little shits she gives.
Well, here's the thing, though, that I want to kind of clarify. I don't think she's wrong. I mean, yes, she's wrong, but she has to take care of her family and focus on their needs, because everyone is suffering. And while I totally am on their side still for, being treated like shit, I can't necessarily blame her because it's hard for everybody, and you can't just take care of every single person when you're struggling too.
I should clarify that, I don't hate her.
Oh, no.
Because I understand that she has to do what she does.
My read on the aunt wasn't necessarily that... they were all feeling the strain of wartime, and that she felt that they weren't actually contributing to the house. I feel as though there was an undercurrent of she thought they were lazy because they were essentially getting a free ride while doing nothing to help their country. And it was I could see if her household was struggling and she thought they weren't doing anything to help out and yet just eating their food. I could definitely get that. But even from the first day that they got there, when she said, "Oh my God, you guys got dropped off in a truck. You Navy guys are so lucky," you Navy guys are so privileged, or something like that. It started out as this kind of dismissive undertone that only grew, and
she was hardcore checking their privilege.
I was just, but I mean, they're fucking orphans, guys. Their parents literally just died. Fuck you. Can you take care of these
I said that
kids,
too during
guys?
the movie.
I also want to point out another thing, though, that Reddit user Razor Beams points out on the subreddit True Film and this. He says that the film was definitely trying to put a certain blame on Seida, because the original book is semi-autobiographical, because in real life, the author, Akiyuki Nosaka, did not die.
Right.
But, however, he felt very guilty and felt very responsible for everything until his deathbed. So that might be part of the reason why the aunt is so critical, I guess you could say.
I don't know. It's just like the aunt read to me like almost like she was feeding so much into the state propaganda that anybody who honestly wasn't doing their part to help the country in this time of war was worthless. That's where it came out for me, and less of, oh my god, my sister's children are dead, and like oh my god, my sister is dead and her children are orphans. I need to take care of these kids.
I need to do adult things.
I need to be an adult.
Rather than be petty, because and I know we've completely not answered the question. I'm going to get to it, but it just blew my fucking mind when the little girl asked for rice, and she went off on a tirade about how people who don't, like, you expect to, like, lounge around here, not do any work, and eat the same as the people who are working for this country. I'm like, bitch, that is a toddler. I need you to calm the fuck down. And then when she continued off onto that, saying, fine, we'll eat separately if that's how you feel, and then she had the nerve to get pissy when Seta actually bought a stove so that he could cook for them separately. Oh god!
Like that was very innovative too. Like I was glad that the kid did that. Cause I'm like, you know what? Take care of yourselves. I appreciate that. At least you guys are trying to show that you can do that, and show you've earned your place here. I appreciate that.
I was just mad. Now to the question though.
Yes.
Do I believe he was wrong for leaving? I won't say wrong. I will say unwise, because they were being treated like shit, and they wanted to get away from that, and that's entirely understandable. But at the same time, he is all of 14, and there was no way he could have seen the struggles that was going to come with having to take care of him and his little sister by himself. So I think it was unwise. Do I think he should have...
If it had just been him, I think he could have pulled it off.
Maybe. But do I think he should have swallowed his pride and went back to his aunt? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Max, what do you think?
I mean, I think he should have swallowed his pride, definitely. And that the same Reddit thread that I was reading from also talks about that. Actually, Aaron, I'll link it to you so you can put it in the description.
Yeah. You wanna dive into that real quick and just kind of give us a glimpse as to what they're saying before we get to the next question?
Yeah. So Reddit user Wowzo
Wow.
says we are supposed to think that it is the boy's fault. While the aunt is mean, she doesn't give enough of a reason to run off and live like he does. It is the boy's attitude that gets him and his sister killed. Since it is the boy's fault, it makes the ending much more tragic due to the fact that they could still be alive if it wasn't for his stubbornness.
Yeah, that's definitely the way they want you to read it, I think.
I think it's true. I think that's a really harsh interpretation, but I do think it's true.
Something about the guy's English tells me that he's not a native speaker of English, so that might be why it comes off a little bit harsh.
That's fair. Okay, so I have another question here for you guys. So this is taking it away from the movie a little bit and focusing more on the genre. How do you think this compares to other war films you've seen? Which is going to be very loaded since we're Americans and we've seen a lot of American-based war films.
I think it takes an interesting approach because, let's take, Saving Private Ryan, for instance.
Okay.
It focuses a lot... Many movies focus on, the soldier's life.
The valiant heroes that are out there saving lives.
But we don't really focus on the civilians that much. I mean... you have movies like Schindler's List and Boy in the Striped Pajamas that do focus...
Schindler's List is really good.
Do take an interesting approach to it. And I think Grave of the Fireflies goes more into that subcategory where we're not focusing on the soldiers' lives, we're focusing on the common people's lives and seeing how they are affected. I mean, if you look at Boy in the Striped Pajamas, you find a boy growing up in the Third Reich. His father is an SS officer, they move right next to a concentration camp. And you just see him suddenly realize how much of this propaganda is just bullshit that he sees.
Fake news, everybody, don't trust it.
So, I think Grave of the Fireflies is also taking that approach to where there's no glory in war.
Nope.
There really isn't. No war is justified. Because...
Well, except for Star Wars, that's justified.
That's justified, because it's entertaining as fuck. But other than that, war is just a horrible, horrible thing to go through for anybody on all sides. And I think the way that a lot of war movies go is we glorify this soldier's life and make them these valiant heroes that go through everything, when at the end of the day, they are people just like you and me who had to see some horrific shit.
And to add perspective to it, too, we've never... I don't think... Not since the Civil War, I don't think, have we had a war on American soil. People who are alive right now have no concept of what these people have went through. And that's just this war. We're talking about, like, every war where we've gone to fight, like World War I, World War II, what we're doing in the Middle East right now. None of us, from the perspective of a citizen, has any idea what that's like.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like, I mean, there are soldiers obviously still alive from Korea and Vietnam.
Yeah.
But on a personal level, civilians in the United States were not that affected. I think the most effect we saw was in Vietnam when we were drafting young college kids and forcing particularly young men at the time,
to fight a war that we were going to lose.
that we were going to lose, and that they had no desire to fight whatsoever.
Ryan, how do you feel about this one?
I definitely agree with it, and I haven't seen a lot of war movies, but the ones that I have definitely go about glorifying the life and times of a soldier and like the honor in putting one's life on the line for to defend one's country. This is not me saying anything like bad or negative about anybody in the armed forces.
Yeah, I mean, we love our veterans. Here.
Absolutely.
They make a big sacrifice. That's something important to know.
But it is absolutely critical to look at the other aspects of war and how it's not just, okay, well, these two groups of combatants go off to a secluded area and they fight it out, and whoever wins, their country gets stuff. That's not how war works at all.
Yeah.
And I think this movie this film really puts that in the spotlight. I mean, you start off in a very peaceful village, and you only need to see the village for about 2 minutes before everything starts getting set on fire. And that's exactly what that says everything about the message that this story is trying to convey. That aside from all of the government-funded propaganda bullshit about like going to serve your country and going to make those bastards pay for what they did to us in some other place, take all of that out of the equation, and you have peaceful villages and people just trying to live, and their homes are being destroyed and they're being set on fire for no reason.
Well, and to add to the perspective here, for those who are not maybe so historically read up and maybe know more pop culture things, I'm gonna reference Last Airbender real quick, because this actually, I think, fits. So, back in the World War II, Japan was our enemy, and we were told through propaganda that they can be nothing but enemies, basically. We had internment camps that were racist and imprisoned them in horrible conditions. In Avatar, the Fire Nation is painted as the enemy. We're supposed to be told that we're supposed to hate them, we're supposed to not like them. For 2 whole seasons, we're treat them like they're the scum of the earth. Season 3 rolls around, and we see normal citizens of the place, and they act like normal kids doing normal kid things. And then that's when the series hits you with the realization that, yes, the Fire Nation is led by bad people, like Japan of World War II was led by bad people, but the nation itself is not all bad people, and they don't all need to suffer for the actions of 1 or 2 horrible people in power. And I think that this movie does a good job showing that perspective of the citizens and how none of them want this war, none of them want to be here, they're just stuck in it, and so they're going to support their troops, and that's what we're stuck with.
I think another good way to put it is, I think I said earlier, the people weren't shite, just the government.
Yes. Which is true today as it was back then. Last question and discussion before we move on to our next segment. Boys, do you want to see more stories like this from the Vietnam, Korean, Afghanistan, or Cambodian struggles that have happened in the past?
God.
I would definitely like to see an animation for the Khmer Rouge, to be on, which was the Cambodian struggle at the time, just in case people aren't aware of the term Khmer Rouge. There is a movie on Netflix based on a novel called First They Killed My Father, which is really good at explaining what happened during the Khmer Rouge. But I would just love to see... Not love. That sounds so bad. But
You'd be interested.
I would be interested. I think our society could do well to see more media that shows the daily lives of citizens from those countries at the time.
What's the name of that movie you mentioned from Netflix? I'm going to add that to the description.
First They Killed My Father.
Excellent. I'm going to put it in the chat so I don't forget it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ryan, what do you think?
I would absolutely love to see I would love to see a movie on the current state in Afghanistan, but I think such a movie will either not be made or will get not necessarily blacklisted, but will get overshadowed so hard by the powers that be that it will never really get enough traction to really convey the message that needs to be conveyed. Because, I mean, especially after seeing a movie like this, it really makes you think just how subtle and, dare I say, nefarious the propaganda machine for our government really is. Because you literally never think about anything like this when you think about war, when you think about joining the armed forces. It's always sign up to protect your country. They they put their lives on the line to defend the men and women of this brave country who are just trying to live. And that's all well and good, and I do believe that's absolutely a part of the armed forces. But people in power are sending those trained people to fuck with other people who are just trying to live. I mean, come on.
Another thing you have to realize about being in the armed forces, yes, it is filled with valor and honor, but it's a sacrifice. At the end of the day, it's more than just fighting the good fight in certain cases, and especially in World War II. It was a genuine sacrifice for a lot of men and women. Just to add on to, I agree with Ryan's statement, and also, I don't think we're ever going to get one, or at least we're not going to get one for Afghanistan soon.
If we ever see
the Trump
that
administration.
No, if we ever see a movie about Afghanistan from that point of view, I have no idea. It will be decades from now. It will be decades from now.
Yeah, well, because think of it this way, right? Grave of the Fireflies does not portray America in the greatest light.
Well, in all fairness, you don't really see anything American. You see the planes, but they don't have any identification.
Oh my god! Actually, this just hit me.
is...
This just hit me, and I'm sorry I had to interrupt. But one of the first lines, like in the opening of the movie, when you see Seta like towards the end of his life, like on the night that he died, and he's homeless. He's in a train station, and there are people like talking down on him, like oh my god, disgusting, and like they say, like the Americans will be here soon. We don't want the Americans to see this, and that they're never really brought up again. But to juxtapose that there are some people that want to put on their best faces for the Americans, with the idea that it's the Americans that are bombing them in the war.
Fuck, I totally forgot about that opening minute. You're absolutely right.
Just threw me for a fucking loop. It literally just hit me. I'm sorry.
That, and I also want to point out that while America is not directly stated, it's heavily implied that it is America because just...
I know. I'm just trying to say they distance themselves a little bit from it.
Yeah, I mean, the term American is mentioned, like, at the beginning, and that's literally it.
I think that kind of sets the topic of who the enemy is, and I don't think they really need to mention it again. Mm-hmm. But, you will never see Grave of the Fireflies in a U.S. history class.
Nope.
But they should. It's that important.
Oh no, they should. They definitely should, just to give context to the war. But you never will, because there is a undertone that says that America is not the best country in the world.
We'll get more into the must-sees of this movie later on, but we have some other segments to hit. I have 2 more segments, and we'll wrap it up here.
Okay.
So first up, so we no longer are doing listener questions, at least for a little while. They're going to be on break. Instead, I'm going to open the door up to a mailbag section. We won't read anything today because I don't have anything. But listeners, if you are interested in communicating with us, you want to say what you like about this movie, what you don't like about this movie, and we will get to your emails, your comments, your responses, whatever you have to say about this film or any film we're covering in the Studio Ghibli lineup. Just email them to evacstation@gmail.com. You can also go to Tumblr, Twitter, or Facebook to get us those responses. We'd love to hear from you and read your responses. It'll be a good time. And now, we're going to go on to our updated trivia game segment.
God.
So, in the previous season, Ryan and I, and even Max for an episode, we'd go back and forth asking each other various questions about the different Marvel movies coming up. I decided to play around a little bit. I'm going to be more of a host this season, and this time around, I'm going to play a game with you boys. It's called Name the Anime.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, boy.
I have 3 animes here. Each of them have 5 clues. We're not going to get through all 5 clues, hopefully. The goal is for you guys to answer what you think this anime is before the final clue. Whoever gets the answer sooner gets more points, but overall it's just 2 out of 3. Let's see who gets the best.
Y'all know I'm not up on my anime, right?
Yeah. I hope is this going to be really niche, or is this going to be pretty popular?
A few of these are pretty popular. I picked ones I have at least heard of, so that at least means that Ryan may have heard of these as well. Because I think I'm less versed in anime than you are, Ryan.
Alright.
We'll see, though. We'll see. I have 2 episodes of this planned out, and if it doesn't work out, we'll do something different for different episodes. Alright, so the first anime, gentlemen, I have your first clue. This comedy anime's original net run, was started in March of 2010. Any guesses so far?
You said that's the anime started in 2010?
Yep.
I think I have an idea, but can I get a second?
Yeah, let's go for a second.
Yep. Second hint. The dub features actors such as Eric Vale, Christopher Bevins, Todd Habercorn, and Patrick Seeds.
Eric Vale is in literally fucking everything.
The voice actor one may or may not help you. It depends on how well you know certain things.
Alright, third hint.
Third hint. The author created this series while living in New York. Not super helpful, but
Fourth
I
hint.
can't mention a lot. Fourth hint. I think Max will get it on this one. This anime was heavily criticized by Korean protesters, and they called for its cancellation.
Oh fuck, what was it? Oh god, what the fuck was it called? Oh god, oh fuck.
He knows.
Oh god, I know what it is, but I don't know the name. Oh fuck.
This is partially why I wanted to do this segment, just to see you guys freak out when you do know it.
Ah, what the fuck was it called?
Ryan, do you want to take a stab at it?
I'm waiting on the last hint. Oh, question before you throw out the last hint. Are we just shouting out the answer, or like, how are we doing that?
I would say if you know the answer, maybe make a noise. So I guess one of you do a ding, and one of you guys do like a some other noise. I don't know what else you guys want to do.
All right. Because I feel like either both of us are gonna get it on this next hint, or at least Max is going to get it. And I didn't know if we were just gonna shout it out as soon as we know it.
I would say, how about this? Say your name, and then whichever name I hear first will be the one that I pick if it's the same time.
Alright.
Alright, last clue. Y'all ready for this?
I guess.
The protagonist is recognized as the weakest and most cowardly in the series, the love of artistry, pasta, and pizza.
Oh, got it.
Oh, you got it?
Mob Psycho?
No, you are not there. Max, your game.
You said it was the first hint was a web series, right?
Yes.
Kind of, sort of.
Yes.
Was it Hitalia?
Yes, you are correct, sir.
Okay.
Hitalia Access Powers, which I just realized is very poignant for this episode.
I have never
No
seen
shit.
this.
I didn't learn that. I'm sorry. So it's a series where the countries of the world are characters, and they're
anthropomorphized.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird.
Oh,
it's really. I highly suggest, because each episode's only like 5 minutes long, Ryan. So like
you would like it, Ryan. I think you would.
Yeah, throw a link. Throw a link in the chat. I'll check that out.
All right, time for the
I'll
next.
grab it.
Time for the next one, Ryan. I guarantee you know this one. Are you ready?
All right, let's do it.
This fantasy mech anime's original run started in October of 2006.
Ooh, okay, Fantasy Mech. How many guesses do we get? Because there are several.
I will allow one guess per clue. So if you think you have it, Ryan, this could be it.
Fantasy Mech. 2006. God, I'm not good at timeline. I'm not good at like when things came out.
All right. You want the next clue?
I'm gonna throw a guess out there. It's because it's the first one that's coming to mind.
I hope you get this. I really hope you get this.
I'm gonna guess Tenga Toppa Gurren Lagann.
Incorrect.
All right,
Max.
I know what it is. I think.
Do you want to take a stab at it, Max?
Is it Code Geass?
You are correct.
Damn!
You took one clue. Man, I was really hoping to get to clue number 4, because I like clue number 4.
Can I hear clue number 4 at least, just so I know what it is?
Yeah. Because another anime featured product placement of a different pizza chain, Pizza Hut approached this show with the idea of importing product placement into this anime.
See, this is killing me, because this is, like, Code Geass is actually one that I have not seen as of yet, but I always mean to look into it, and I just never make the time to do so.
I feel so bad. I thought you would have seen that one.
I was like sitting there thinking, I'm like, wasn't there a mech anime that was like really fucking good in 2006 that everybody just loved?
They still talk about it.
No lie,
I
didn't even know Geass had anime. Had mechs in it.
They weren't the primary focus, but they were a big part of it.
Yeah, like I think like literally one of the first scenes is just a like high-speed chase between two mechs.
Because all I know of Code Geass is that the main character has the power to, like, look at somebody and fucking give them a command to do whatever. And he can only use it one time on each person, so he has to be really strategic about how he uses the power and, like, to put himself, like, higher up in the government.
Alright, so Max has won 2 out of 3. I'm going to save this third one for a different episode if we continue this little game. But, Ryan, don't worry. The ones I picked for Spirit of the Way, I think you will get. I know you will get one of them.
Here's hoping.
I promise. I promise.
I keep telling you guys, I'm not super up on my anime.
I don't know, Ryan or Aaron. You said that you thought Ryan was going to get the Code Geass one.
True, but I know he actually has seen the one I'm referencing for the next episode.
Okay, it's totally One Piece.
No, I wish it was though. I'll totally do it at some point. All right, so that's our tribute for this episode. We're gonna do final thoughts and close it out. So, guys, if we had to, so we're not gonna rank the movies like we did for Marvel because I don't think you can realistically rank what Studio Ghibli does. It's difficult.
No.
So instead, we're gonna give them our own personal scores, I guess, so to speak. I didn't come up with a score system for this episode because I forgot to actually bring it over from my other project. So I'm going to just go ahead and say, how would you rank this movie in your own personal score system? And we will do a proper score system in other videos when we get to it.
Oh, God. You know,
I would...
Max said.
I would give it a near-perfect score, just because of how niche of a market it is. It's probably one of the best in its, genre of Japanese war stories.
Oh,
you don't hear about it that much.
To add to that, on my old blog, I had a score system based on gold, silver, bronze, all that stuff. I would give this a platinum. I think this is definitely on that upper level of everyone should see this at least once, and it's just that damn good.
Only once.
Only once, because
you know what? That's okay. There are going to be many others who are much stronger than I am. I told them this before we started recording, but I was sobbing for the last 10 minutes straight of the movie. I was just absolutely destroyed. So
to give you some reference, Ryan, this is the third time I've seen it.
God.
To be fair though, Ryan, if a movie can make you sad like that to that level,
it's fucking
that's
shit.
A powerful film. I mean,
this is a phenomenal film. You will never hear me say one unkind word about this movie. Everybody should absolutely see this. I do not think I will be able to watch it again, but I am glad that I watched it. I am absolutely glad that I watched it. I needed to see that.
So overall, nothing but praise here. I think we got.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I will go ahead and close out the video or the podcast real quick, and we will move on to our second recording for the evening. So thank you everybody for listening to the After Credits cast, Grave of the Fireflies. We hope you learned something from this as much as we did. This is a very good film, and we highly recommend it without question. If you want to follow us to see more episodes coming out and other projects we got going on, we would advise you to check out our Twitter, our Tumblr, our Facebook, and of course our email. Ryan, what is that email?
That is evacstation@gmail.com.
And keep a lookout for a website coming soon that is actually currently in development at the time of recording. I am not 100% sure when it will go up, but it should be our new central hub for everything once it is up and running. Fingers crossed that happens soon.
I got the sneak peek, guys. It looks dope. And
of course, you can also catch us on Patreon, where we're hoping to get more exclusive content very soon. That is why we're actually upping our recording schedule right now, so look for that too. And until then, we will see you after the credits.
Bye.